2:30. Erica is going to be sending out the attendance via email, Microsoft Forms. So if you are a voting senator, you will receive an email. So if you can fill that out real quick. All right, did everybody receive it? No? Okay, we'll resend it. Okay. All right, so if everyone could just take a quick moment to fill out the attendance. Again, bear with us. We're trying a new electronic voting system through Microsoft Forms. And shout out to Brian Millville. Thank you for training us on how to do this. And so hopefully it'll be a little bit more efficient this week or this month versus last month. All right, so it's 2:33 and it is a beautiful, warm, sunny day for the middle of December. So let's get the show on the road. So it's the end of the semester, and I just want to say how everybody did an amazing job, because we haven't been here on campus. We were away for 18 months, and I didn't really realize, I was excited to come back, but I didn't realize how hard it was going to be with people again, right? And have that constant interaction with my students, which I love, and they've just learned so much more. But having to work with people face to face was really a challenge for me. And I'm like a super big extrovert, so I feel bad for everyone who's an introvert. I don't know how you did it, so well done. But yeah, just getting through the semester. I know that we've had various people out here and there with quarantines and all of that, but everybody still was able to make it work. I feel like every time I talk about it, I jinx myself at this meeting and one of my kids gets quarantined. So for November, 2 of them got COVID. So that was super fun. But everybody's fine, and they're going to be fully vaccinated by December 20th. Thank you, science. So we will no longer need to quarantine and isolate anymore. Woo! I'm running out of sick days to be home with them. So anywho, well done. Our first semester back. It's hard. It's completely different circumstances that we were back here on campus than what we're used to ever in our career. And you know what? We all made it work. I know that the semester ends the 23rd technically, but that doesn't actually mean anybody stops working. There's still grading, there's final exams, there's final papers, and all the different things that we all do behind closed doors to wrap up the semester to make sure our students are successful. I want to thank everybody for promoting registration for the spring semester in your courses, and also for promoting winter registration. I've had a lot of students that have come up to me and asked for help with registering and things like that. Students that were offered extra credit in their other courses came and talked to me, even though I'm also offering extra credit in my courses for showing proof of registration. But a lot of people are doing it because they're coming and talking to me saying, okay, I did this, I showed this teacher, now I'm going to show you. So it's really great and just a wonderful effort on everybody for that initiative. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our interim president, Bill Reuter.
Thank you, Colleen. Just a few brief updates. Presidential search, as everyone's aware, we had the 4 finalists on campus about 2 weeks ago. The Board of Trustees has submitted names to the SUNY Chancellor for his, what was expected at the time, his interview of the candidates. With the recent resignation some people may have heard of, we're not sure of the process at this point in time. At some point, both the SUNY Board of Trustees as well as the College Board of Trustees must approve the recommended candidate as the permanent president. There is no specific dates or timeline at this point in time. Again, with the Chancellor resignation, I think things are somewhat up in the air right now, but we will certainly keep you apprised. I asked the Chairwoman Wilson for an update just yesterday. She was actually going to try to come, but she was unable to make it in person today. As far as Middle States, as far as the timeline is concerned, we met the timeline. We submitted our institutional response as required to the chair report. Now the chair had 5 days to submit his confidential brief to the Middle States Commission. We are not privy to that confidential report. The timeline from this point forward would be that the team chair, Dr. David Edwards, would attend the Middle States Commission board meeting sometime in the month of March 2022, and the college would be informed of any kind of decision by the commission anticipated in April of 2022. As far as enrollment, we finished the fall semester down on a headcount basis 6%. Again, we measure fall to fall, and then on an FTE basis, we're down over 8%. The continuing students had a large loss last semester. The pockets of hope for us continue to be our transfer students, our high school demographics, as well as our first-time, full-time, but those 3 groups of students do not make up for the loss of the continuing students. Winter and spring enrollment is continuing. Colleen, thanks for the plug, and thanks for everyone what they're doing. We continue to be far, far behind last spring. We are down over 18% right now. And that was down from the prior spring, prior spring, and prior spring. So it is not going in a good direction right now. Please remind your students, they have not chosen to register before the end of classes, that we do have open registration set for January 10th and 11th. If you walked the halls of B building, I just did, you will see a lot of plastic wrap at every restroom entrance and exit. There's a lot of ADA work going on. There have been delays by the contractors due to supply shortages as well as inferior workmanship in some areas. The ramps that were supposed to be poured behind G building over Thanksgiving had to be re-poured because they failed inspection. So a lot of work throughout the campuses. The conversation about the Buffalo Bills and a future location involving the SUNY Erie Community College, I have said publicly many, many times we are not party to those discussions. We are not at the table. We're not privy to any discussion, decisions, or recommendations. We are planning to be at South Campus short-term and long-term in some form or fashion. If something happens outside our control, then we may have to pivot, but for now, we are making decisions based upon academic programs. There was an article, I believe, in Sunday's paper. There's been a couple other news accounts. The Erie County Legislature actually had 3 public hearings recently. Again, we plan to be at South Campus for many years to come. And then we have launched what's called a realignment study. It's being funded. We had 7 foundations step up to the plate and contribute $280,000 towards that study. We've had some internal pre-meetings. We will bring a task force together, most likely early February once classes start to come back. We are going to make sure each and every constituency that has an interest in the future of SUNY Erie will be at the table. They will more be like a sounding board, but they will be part of the process. And then this Thursday, the Board of Trustees is having an in-person board meeting. Begins at 1:30 at North Campus, Committee of the Whole, followed by the board meeting at 2:30. Due to only 6 board members still being on the board, they've had to adjust times and dates for board meetings, but we will be this Thursday at 1:30. And then finally, just a reminder, convocation is going to be at City Campus, and that will be January 12th. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Interim President Reuter. Normally at this time, we would have an update from our COVID-19 task force, but they were unable to attend, so I'm just going to say a couple of points that were sent to me. All right, so I'm just going to read it. All right, so from Amy Yoder and Mark Pacholik, they wanted to congratulate all faculty, staff, and students for successfully completing another semester during the pandemic. The compassion shown towards students was exemplary. Unfortunately, rates in Erie County are at an all-time high. However, our campus positivity rate has remained low. Mask compliance, our high student and staff vaccination rates, and staying home when feeling ill have been very important steps in keeping our positivity rates low. Please continue to wear your mask when on campus, and if ill, please stay home. Any positive individuals should contact campus safety right away, and please be sure to have updated contact information in Workday. And that I know was one of the issues people were having because of contact tracing. Reminders for the spring semester, all students taking face-to-face courses are required to have completed the vaccination 2 weeks prior to the start of the semester. All students currently registered who have not submitted their vaccination information are being contacted now. For information about the spring semester vaccination requirements and religious and medical exemptions can be found on the college website. COVID pool testing will continue in the spring semester. If anyone is interested in assisting at the testing site, we are in desperate need for staff. Please contact Amy Yoder if assisted in the college's COVID efforts, including those working at COVID testing, the COVID hotline, but especially our contact tracing team, who have been working nights and weekends and have been extremely busy, especially now. And as always, if anyone has any questions COVID related, you can feel free to reach out to Amy Yoder or Mark Pacholik. Okay, so we have the minutes from the November 9th meeting. Can I have a motion to approve? Jason Steinitz, second. Tom Webb. Is there any questions or discussion on these minutes? Any objections? Then I'm going to accept them by consent. All right, we're going to move on to old business. And we have 2 of our curriculum committees that have done quite a bit of work in December. First up, we got College-Wide Curriculum Committee with Brian Millville. Brian?
Yep, thank you, Colleen. So I'm actually delivering our report from November and December. Our November meeting was after the last Senate meeting. We had 2 main proposals that were approved by the committee there. One of them was for a new certificate titled Legal Medical Professional Consultant. I would just say, I'm going to go kind of an overview. I would read the report for more details here. This is geared toward registered nurses, nurse practitioners, and physical assistants looking to possibly change careers or have a second career as a legal medical consultant in a local law firm. It's offered entirely online, and it's using existing coursework or slightly modified courses. The second proposal from November was the childhood ed and teaching assistant certificates. This one's, even though these are new, we have to submit new forms, SUNY Form 2A and 2C. We offer this degree and certificate out of the city campus already. This would expand those offerings to be registered out of the South and North campus. Those are new offerings in the eyes of SUNY and SED. Okay, so moving to December, We had 3 proposals there. One of them was for a change in the mechanical engineering technology program. So we have to submit this SUNY Form 3A. Most of the changes here are being implemented to aid our offering of this program at the Northland Workforce Training Center. So it's expanding some of the program electives is the main changes. You'll see those are the MH courses listed on the screen there. A couple smaller changes to a couple of the ME courses. All right, and we have a new certificate and a new AOS degree. The certificate is titled Automotive Maintenance Program. I realized I don't have that on this report, Colleen, so I might have you repost it and resend it. This was developed with and supported by the Wester Auto Group. It's related to our current automotive service certificate, but it's a little bit lighter in that it's focusing more on basic maintenance than full service. Okay, and then the last one we had was the new AOS degree, and again, I'm missing the title here. It's called Collision Technology. This is from the Auto Body Repair Group. This was again developed and supported by the Wester Auto Group. This is kind of the auto body analog of our current AOS degree that we offer in automotive service. Again, that's in conjunction with Wester and other local dealerships. The students are going to alternate between on-campus coursework and then cooperative experience at the dealerships. And that's it. I just did want to make a quick note that all of these proposals, none of these proposals have been submitted yet. They all need final approval by the provost, and some of these are going to be need approval from the Board of Trustees as well.
Okay, great. Thank you, Brian. And then as the College Senate and per our bylaws, we accept the work of the College-wide Curriculum Committee and the work that they do there. And they just let us know all the awesome things they're doing for our students. Does anybody have any questions for Brian about these certificates or degree programs? Okay, thank you very much, Brian and CWCC. Next up, we have our General Education Committee, and we got Erickson Nealons.
Great, thank you, Colleen. With regards to the SUNY General Education revisions, I think I'll start there. On November 10th of this year, the SUNY trustees did approve the revisions to the SUNY General Education requirements. In our opinion, and mine as well, there are a lot of changes that we feel are very important for the entire institution then to be aware of. This is one for October, actually. One of the changes for the AA and the AS degree is it still is retaining the 7 of 10 knowledge areas, but each of the knowledge areas has, for the most part, largely changed. Some more than others in terms of their title, as well as then the description of how they then are fulfilling those requirements. And then there's some that are actually brand new. That would include diversity, equity, inclusion, and social justice. For the AAS degrees, in our opinion, this is a pretty radical and pretty substantial change for the SUNY General Education requirements than what's currently being done. This is the first time ever where for the AAS degrees, there is what's called a distribution requirement. So there are 4 of the SUNY knowledge areas, the 4 that are required that every student has to then fulfill by the time that they graduate. We suspect that that will in fact likely require for degree programs to go into their existing curriculum and identify how they are then going to fulfill that particular distribution requirement. We will be receiving from SUNY, although not as of yet, of this report, guidance on how these changes are to be implemented. For the AA and the AS degrees, students who start in fall of 2023, this will be then when the new requirements are put into play. For the AAS and the AOS degrees, these requirements will start for students in fall of 2024. So although it does seem like there's a few academic years between now and then, there are a lot of steps that we will have to take in order to be able to implement these changes. Our committee has already started to work with our ITS and Workday team, and really appreciate the opportunity to be able to work with them in this project. We have a good flow in terms of the workflow, I should say, of when we expect that our system will be able to update these changes. We also plan to work with the academic departments in which we currently are housing and we've identified as the subject matter experts for our current list of SUNY knowledge areas. That project will take place in spring of 2022. And having those units review the current list of classes and from their subject matter expertise identify, do those classes then fulfill the new descriptions of the SUNY knowledge areas? So those will then be forthcoming quite soon. The guidance, or the details, I should say, of these changes are posted on the College Senate website for today's meetings. I really encourage, especially department chairs, those that are related then to curriculum, really take a look then at this particular guidance. I'm also very happy and willing to answer any questions that you may have about these new changes. And you can email me or even here talk about any of those concerns that you may have. So I'll pause there with regards to that update.
Does anyone have any questions for Erickson about what's coming down the pipeline? All right, looks like you're off the hook.
The next item, there are the ILO reports that I presented at the end of the last Senate meeting. We are happy if the Senate, I have not received any comments from them, if it is where you wanted to vote to approve those. Per our procedure, all of our reports that assess these ILOs are going to enter the Senate for an opportunity for discussion and opportunity to be commented on.
Does anyone have any comments about the ILOs? All right, so I think we're going to maybe go for a vote for that in February or today? I don't remember.
It's up to you. Certainly, we respect whatever your schedule is. If it is where you are likely going to vote on these in the February meeting, one of the ILO reports that's not up here, but was approved by our committee at the last meeting, is the scientific reasoning ILO. I would probably then move to have that included then if you're going to bundle them together at the February meeting. If you're going to vote on the other four today, we would probably then have the scientific reasoning ILO going forward for the February meeting.
All right. Well, why don't we push them together for February, and that way we have a little bit more time for any feedback and comments. Does that work? All right. So everyone, that's your homework. All right. Please read these ILOs and be prepared for comments or questions for February. You have 2 whole months. Okay? You can do it. I know you can. Bless you. All right, next up we have our governance updates. Michael Reel?
Well, we have, I guess we have a lot on the agenda for governance. We could start with a vote for new members to get everybody on board. So we do have a list of appointees that has been sent through executive committees, coming to the floor, requires a vote of the Senate to approve. And I don't know if we have the vote ready to go, or if
Would you like to make a motion?
I'd love to. Motion to approve appointed members for vacancies for the Senate.
Okay, and would anyone like to second that? Dorothy, thank you. And the names are up on the wall up here. Is there any questions? Comments? All right, we're going to send the vote out, mostly for practice, but it's coming on out. trying to decide if the clicking I'm hearing is people still working on voting or they're doing something else. All right, I think we're good. And the motion passes overwhelmingly with 100% approval. So thank you to those that volunteered to be appointed for the spring semester to help us out with some vacancies. And then they will be up through May and up for election for the next cycle in June. Okay, next on the docket.
Okay, so proposed bylaws changes require that we bring those proposals to the Senate floor at least 30 days before we have a vote. We are including restructuring of ex officio Senate membership, the executive committee membership, and an academic policy committee. And we can start with any of those for discussion today, or we can have discussion at the next meeting to give everyone time to review those bylaws changes.
Well, we have the ex officio membership up first. What it does, so we've obviously lost, through restructuring and whatnot, several senior executive staff members, some title changes and things like that, which affects our ability to have quorum. So what we proposed is that instead of having everybody from the senior executive staff, then the president can just nominate 4 of those members to come to the Senate meetings. But the provost and the chief equity and diversity officer are automatically ex officio. And then the representative from Middle States, and then our 3, the unions. This is what it looked like before. And there you go. We also lost a lot of faculty, so it's also to help keep the balance that's in the bylaws. So that's the first one. Anyone have any questions? You can also read it over or mull it over. We're not voting on it today because, again, it's a proposed bylaw change. We will not be voting on it till February. So there's lots of time for discussion in between now and February. Next one. Is a change to the membership of the executive committee, and it's just adding one person, and it's adding the chair of the College Senate Governance Committee. Part of the rationale there is that there's a lot of work that's done at governance. Sometimes Senate leadership cannot attend governance because of other duties, so instead of trying to create extra meetings or having meetings in hallways between classes, it'll keep everything more streamlined by having the governance chair also in the same meeting as the executive committee. Any questions? Again, that's a February vote. Hang on. Okay, the third one is the creation of an academic policy committee. So we do not have an academic policy committee at Erie Community College. We're one of the very few in the SUNY system who do not. So academic policy should be rewritten by academics and should come through shared governance. So this is creating an academic policy committee to be written by academics who are the experts in their fields to create the policy and then come through College Senate and then move forward, if needed, to the board. It would be a faculty-led committee of 6 voting faculty members, 2 non-voting members appointed by the college president or provost. The Academic Policy Committee will report directly to the College Senate. The committee structure follows what we did for CWCC and Gen Ed. There will be an inclusion of a subcommittee structure in which we could have subcommittees or ad hoc if needed. Remember, ad hoc is just small groups to have 1 or 2 specific tasks, and then they go away. One of the subcommittees would be academic standards. It would be a standing subcommittee of the Academic Policy Committee. Let's see. So this committee structure allows for both a maintained connection and limited autonomy between academic policy and academic standards, which will allow for operational administrative nature of academic standards to function separately, but still under academic purview of policy recommended through the Academic Policy Committee and shared governance. So that is the abstract. The proposal. And we realize that there's some things in here that need to be flushed out more. Again, it's December. This isn't going to be voted on until February. We've got time to have discussions and flush things out and get it to where the whole body wants it. But I wanted to make sure that we presented it today because, again, we have 2 months to, work out all the kinks and all that good stuff because this is not going to be voted on. Juan.
Just I was looking at the section 3 in the membership. It has 6 faculty members nominated by the Senate chair. Would it be appropriate to consider maybe 3 faculty nominated by the Senate chair and 3 nominated by academic deans who maybe see faculty with potential or thoughts or insight that they might like to contribute?
Right. Actually, Adiam and I talked about that yesterday, and I think it would be appropriate for the deans to maybe make recommendations up through the provost, and then the provost can make those recommendations. I don't see a problem with that. That could definitely be something that we add in. Adiam? To go to the microphone.
There does not appear to be any representation from DEI in this policy.
Would you mind telling us what DEI is?
Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Thank you. Any other comments, things like that? Of course, again, there's lots of time. Joanne?
Is this tall?
It should work.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, what Juan and Adiam already brought up were kind of the main points of what I was going to suggest. So I chair academic standards along with Jim Birrell now. So I have some background on this. I do agree that we do need to separate policy, academic policy, from academic standards. That's been kind of developing over the last 2 years, where academic standards has been overseeing the writing of academic policy. And so when I chair those meetings, half of the meeting is like the everyday work of academic standards, and then half of it is policy. So I do agree that we should probably have a policy committee and then an academic standards committee. So I think that's moving in the right direction. I don't know if doing academic standards as a subcommittee of the policy committee is the right way to do it, but we could discuss that and figure out which way. But I do agree they should be split. Definitely agree with, you can't just have faculty on these committees. Academic standards, for instance, what you guys are suggesting would be the subcommittee. We need representation from counselors, deans of students, in IT. IT, like Dave Arlington, is crucial to that committee. We need academic deans, and so, as Marlene mentioned, we need her input. She's our rep for diversity. So the membership for the academics subcommittee that you have on the screen there definitely needs to include those people I just mentioned. And as far as the policy committee, the deans, I agree, and we already discussed that, nominating faculty should really come from both Senate and deans. We just know a lot of faculty that maybe don't participate in the Senate. And I think those are my main, right now, though, just so the Senate understands, policies don't get approved by the board. So I've worked to lead many policies through. Over the last couple of years, none of them get approved now unless they get approved by the Senate. So that's in place, and that we don't get them through the Board of Trustees without being approved by Senate now. So shared governance has been part of the process up to this point. Thanks.
Thank you, Joanne. And, I agree to Joanne's point. We've been working on this for several years with the board and with academic standards, that any academic policy does come up through the Senate first. And this is, by creating this committee, is a way to formalize it so that when we all leave at some point, it still functions the way we've worked so hard to get it to function right now, which is the correct way with shared governance. Other questions or comments? Okay, so I wrote down everybody's points, and, well, we got to get through finals first and grading. So in January, we'll get back together and start fleshing this out a little bit more so we can prepare for the February meeting. Thank you, everybody, for your comments. Now, if you didn't read it until right now, of course, you can still email me with comments or suggestions or anything along those lines. If you want to redline it and send it to me, that's cool too. I'm open for all the things, because we are a collaborative body and we work together, and we need to make sure that if we're changing our bylaws and creating policy, that it's inclusive of what everybody here works so hard to do. Anything else from governance?
No, we're all set. Maybe take a minute to welcome the new senators that were just appointed. So, welcome.
Okay. Welcome to the new senators. And thank you. All right. We have any other old business that I forgot? Okay, we're moving to new business. Let me pull it up real quick. Okay, so we have a proposal to institutionalize the management of half-semester courses, which is our 7.5-week courses, also known as rescue courses. And I'm going to call on Jason Steinitz to walk us through this.
Thanks, Colleen.
The main point, I don't know if institutionalized is the word I should have used. It sounds like we're going to lock everybody up, but may or may not help. But the point is to try to get either late start courses. We've talked about offering sequenced first half, second half courses, teaming up across different departments to do that: business, criminal justice, social science, humanities, English, any of those that are interested. And basically the point of this group, maybe from what you said before, an ad hoc committee is what we need, because I don't see this as lasting forever. We want to get it in place so that it becomes a normal part of scheduling and is reviewed in the same way. It's assessed, determine what courses ought to be offered, whether the courses were successful or not. Dave Uzinski has been doing a great job of that for the rescue courses we've offered. To keep track on, in terms of enrollment, what's good to be offering and what isn't. Of course, student success. And to do that, we need some details hammered out. We need section numbers that apply to these that make them identifiable so students and others know what they are. We need advice from financial aid about how that will work for students taking these courses. We certainly need counseling involved because they work with a lot of the students in getting them enrolled. We need to have a timetable that's repeatable, so we're not just making up a number and saying, okay, let's start it here. We should have it in the same kind of format that the scheduling process is now, third Friday of October or whatever it happens to be, so that it follows with that whole scheduling process. And also run cancel dates and policies for run cancels. And that's why I've asked and included the deans of the liberal arts programs, because we have done several of these courses already. They're the ones that make the decision on the schedule, so they need to be a part of this as well. And of course the registrar, because we need to know how we can access these in Workday. Marketing needs to be involved so students and faculty know they're there, better communication and so on. So it's just essentially a group of people who can put this into a workable process that is repeatable semester by semester without the assistance of the committee more than maybe 1 or 2 semesters.
Awesome. Would you like to make a motion?
I make a motion to accept this recommendation or approve this request, I guess.
Okay, second.
Whatever words you want to use.
Jackie Bossman? All right, any questions, comments? Amy?
I would just like to change the language of the courses. Rescue courses, I think, gives students the wrong impression that it's going to fix everything for them. Through the process of registering them, it doesn't fix every solution. So I just, if we can come up with another name, I'm all for everything else, but just the rescue courses.
That's why it's in quotes.
Yes.
Because we do need a better name
Yes.
to
Okay.
do that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
fair point. Adium?
Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yeah.
Part of the discussion was also to move the idea of attracting late starters, right? These are brand new students. So we want to be careful in terms of students who are in the semester, who are struggling with their courses. What we want to do is make sure that they are getting the necessary support with tutoring to be successful. So we want to shift our focus of attracting brand new students in the 7.5 model, and we have this, right? We have this offering that we do with our mechatronic program, and we have seen significant success with retention and graduation rate. So I think we are going to mimic that model by course offering as well as the program offering. But what we want to do is move away exactly from what Amy's referring to, the idea of risking courses, because that's not really what we want to do. We want to get some brand new students and then give an opportunity for our current students, if they're not on track and they're missing a course because of advisement or they're not registered in that particular course, or they need it for graduation. So I think we're shifting that. So the idea of that we are promoting students who are not being successful in this semester, I think we're going to shift that away by offering courses within the 7.5 module.
Awesome. Anyone else? All right, so the motion's on the floor. I'm just, and Erica's going to send it out. Oh, she already sent it. All right, and the motion passed. So thank you, Jason, for taking this on. We're going to give you the ball and let you run with it and get those 7.5-week courses up and running. We're going to call on all our English folks and everyone else good at words to help us rename this and remove rescue. And yay, I think it'll be great. All right, there is one thing I was asked to bring up under old business, or new business. Just pull this flyer up quick. So there is a student engagement and well-being student conference coming up. And it's Wednesday, March 23rd, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at North Campus. And Kim, would you like to help me out? Wait, you need the mic. There you go.
Hello again. Last month, we mentioned about the Student Engagement Conference that we plan to hold in March 23rd, 2022, where counseling is collaborating with Student Engagement and Student Government Association. So we put together a document that is now in the meeting documents for the Senate today, as well as a copy of the request for proposal that went out last week and is also in CPD. We'll be continuing to verbalize this to a lot of you. We may stop by and visit, send you emails, give you phone calls. What we really want to do is encourage faculty to engage your students in this process. Students are participating and engaging with us in it. We are hoping that you'll be able to provide and encourage an opportunity for students to attend the event in March. Also that you'll consider submitting for proposal or activities to do during the event. We plan to hold tabling, and there will be information in RSVP that will go out for that. So that would be an opportunity for faculty and students if you have special projects or initiatives that you're working on within your departments, within your courses with any of your students. If you do have students who are working with you in terms of internships, that this could be an opportunity to display and engage them and give them a platform to coexist with us and engage with us in this type of activity. And if you have any questions, the point individuals are listed on here as well in terms of membership with the RFP. The point of contact is Verlaine Quinney and Jennifer Morrison, but you can reach out to any of the members of the committee to ask any questions, and we hope that you will participate and engage. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kim. Does anybody have anything else they would like to add to the new business? Anything for the good of the order? $3:21 on a sunny December day. That's a wrap, folks. Take care of yourselves. It's the end of the semester. Everybody's stressed out. Do what you need to do to take care of you. I hope everybody has a wonderful holiday season, and we'll see you back in February.